Hi everyone, in today's video I want to talk about planes. So when you start Fusion and you want to create something, so typically you go on to create a sketch and you'll be asked to draw on a plane. Now, bear in mind, the best way I ever heard anyone explain a plane to me is essentially a piece of paper. So the key thing with Fusion is you can't just draw like in midair. Nothing just floats. Once you've got a shape, like an actual 3D model, you can then draw on the face of it. But to begin with, you need to have a plane you can actually physically do. So I could go and say the bottom plane like that, and it'll orientate, and I can do my sketch of whatever it is I want to do. Then extrude up, and then I've got my shape like that. So that's the plane. But really, what you want to do, say if you have a plane, you want to do something more specific than just draw on the front, the side, or the back plane. If you go to under construct here, you've got a huge amount of different options for plane. Now I won't go through all of them, I'll go through the most common ones. So offset plane is incredibly useful. So say you need to have something off the surface a little bit. So you click on whichever plane or face you want to have, and then you can actually drag it up or down freehand, or you can actually put in a predetermined amount of measurements, hit enter, and as you'll see, your plane now is above the surface. So if you need to have something that's not flat on the ground or on the side or anything like that. So that's really, really useful. If you ever want to get rid of your plane so you can't see that, if you click on it and press V for visibility, it's then disappeared. It is still there. So if I go back to my construction, I've got my plane there, it's still there. I can turn it off and on. I can also just turn the eye off and on as well. Next, we have got plane at an angle. So to do that, for example, I'm going to turn back on my construction plane I've done here. And I'm going to create a sketch. And then I'm just going to do a line. So I'm going to L on my keyboard. I'm just going to draw a line like that and go on finish sketch. So I've got this line floating in the air. So if I then go to construct and plane at an angle, what that will let me do, if I click on this line here, I can then draw something coming off a predetermined angle, or I can just, like I'm free eyeing something like that. It will let me do that, or I can put in exactly what I would do. So say if I'm doing like mitre and I want to do 45 degrees, like that. And you can see I'm starting to get all these different planes appear in my menus. So next, what we'll have a look at, so I'm just going to get rid of that because I don't need it. So that warning, by the way, so if just popped up my screen, it's on yellow here. What that's saying is that basically I've removed that line, so the reference for that plane no longer exists. It's not a big deal. Sometimes that can, because I'm just showing you what these planes do, it's not a big deal at all. But if you're going to have a big model, you don't want to just delete the lines like that. So let's go to tangent plane. Now at the minute I can't do a tangent plane on anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create and I'm going to go to a cylinder. So I'll just use this bottom plane here, draw out and bring it up like that. Okay, so what a tangent plane will let me do is it'll essentially let me create a sketch on a curved surface. So if I try and create a sketch now, it won't let me create a sketch on the actual surface. So I can do the top or I can do the bottom, but I can't sketch onto there. So what I can do is I can go to construct and tangent plane. I can click on that surface. If I drag my screen around so you can see, I can then move around that surface as well, but essentially it will let me then create a sketch, and then what I could do is extrude into the surface of that cylinder or emboss into it. Let's do a cylinder or a circle rather, like that. Finish sketch, and say if I wanted to extrude and cut through it, like that. So next we have got a mid-plane. So mid-plane, I'm going to grab a different example here. Let's do this one. So this cube that or this rectangle that I've already made. So say I want to draw a sketch or find something smack bang in the middle of this. If I go to construct, go on mid-plane, what I can do is I can click on one side, I can then click on the other side, click OK. And what's happened is this plane here has appeared right in the middle of both of those edges. What's really good with plane, as well as being able to like sketch on them, I can also use them as tools to split body. So if I say go split body, click on this body, splitting tool, and click on that plane there. Essentially, I've now just used that tool to cut that into two separate bodies like that, nice and easily. Okay, next, let's have a look. Plane through two edges. So we'll jump back over to this one. So let's get rid of this plane, and let's get rid of this body. So construct plane through two edges. So I might click on, say, that edge and that edge. And essentially it just makes sure that that's interacting. I can change that, so I might say that edge and that edge. So again, if I wanted to say I cut that at a perfect 45 degrees, so essentially all you can do is I say I want these two edges to interact, so say I want that edge and this edge, and it's just going to draw a straight line straight through there for me. Next we have got plane through 3 points. So I haven't got any points on here, but let's say if I pick this dot here, and let's take that dot there, and it will basically, in a similar way to the plane through two edges, okay, it'll say I want my plane to interact with this point, and this point. So very useful. It's not something I use a great deal, but it's quite a useful tool if you ever have a bit of an unusual shape you want to draw onto. Next we have got plane. We'll go to plane along a path. So first of all, we're going to need to have a path. So let me just remove this body, and then what I'm going to do is create a sketch, and then let's use a fit point spline and just do a random line like this. So what I want to do, so go to construct and then plane along a path, click on that. I can then choose where I want that to start, but for argument's sake I'll start right on the end there. That means that I can create a sketch on this surface. I might say draw a shape, let's do like cube, like that, and finish sketch. And then say I want to sweep it along that, so if I go to create and sweep, and then it'll say what's the profile, I'll say this is my profile, what's my path, this path. Oh, and I've got bodies turned off, so let's turn that back on. But let's turn that body off. Excuse me, like that. Now you can play around with all those settings in there, but that is a quick little tour of the different kind of construction planes you've got. I won't show you the rest of these points, I'll do another video on those, but that's the first set of planes. These ones essentially will let you set up so you can have a particular plane, so you set them through like an axis through cylinders, so if you need to have something going directly through a cylinder at a certain angle, but I'll save those for a future video as well. If you've got any requests of anything that you're struggling with on Fusion, please send me a message and I'll happily make a little video for you as well.